I feel like a lot of them wanted to play D1 and they had their hearts set on playing D1.
You were between ECNL and ECNL-R, or what was kind of your experience?
I played ECNL till around 17.
A lot of players think like because they play MLS Next or ECNL, they deserve to go and get a college offer.
Right.
How difficult is it to get recruited to go and play in college at ECNL?
I knew I was good enough. I wasn't putting myself out there in front of eyes either.
It definitely varies. So you have your MPL and then your ECNL, ECNL-R, MLS.
When you're preparing for a showcase, what do you do to get ready, to get noticed?
First, I look at my schedule. So I find my games. I'll start emailing coaches like, hey, are you going to be at the showcase?
Is there anything you wish you knew about the recruiting process?
Don't go to IB camps blindly. Me and my parents, we were very, obviously you want to shoot for the stars, but I think we didn't have enough realistic conversations.
What happens if I'm shy and I'm scared of emailing a coach that they're going to not reply or they're not going to tell me they like me?
I think a lot of coaches aren't going to reply. A lot of it is, what I get back is, come to our ID camp. It's like kind of like spam.
Lads, what does football mean to you? Thiago, what does football mean to you?
To me, football's been such a constant in my life. It's so difficult to see my life without football. It's been a source of joy, a source of sadness, and escape from different things. Like, I have such a strong connection with football that it's just such an important part of my identity that it's so difficult to see my life without football.
Yeah. And you, Chase?
Football to me has definitely been part of my life. There's the ups and downs with it. It's definitely the escape, like Thiago said. You make so many connections with it. It's like a family. You make so many different connections with people, and you can stick with those people the rest of your life. So
amazing.
It's something, yeah.
Amazing. Really good, guys. So yeah, today, welcome to the podcast, everyone. We're in Salamanca in Spain at our summer camp for the Select Generation Academy, and today I'm joined by Thiago Ausland, who is a Select Generation Academy alum. He was with us last year for the full season, currently getting ready for pre-season with Unionistas. And then we have Chase, who's a member of our summer camp, and he is currently playing for Tampa Bay United over in Tampa. So boys, I'm excited to do this podcast today. The last couple of podcasts have been really informational. I've been doing a bit of traveling, meeting people from all over the world, and it's kind of what you guys said about like networking, the ups and downs of football. It's really interesting to kind of get different perspectives. And usually with the podcast, I'm talking to like guys at the pro level, guys like coaches, agents, scouts. So it's interesting now, like obviously I'm speaking to you guys a lot, but to have you like on the podcast, speaking about your experiences and like what football means to you and everything. So I'm really excited for the episode today. So Thiago, who are you? What's your story? For someone that's listening to this, it's like, oh, Thiago, he plays for Unionistas. He must have been a pro his whole life. What's your story?
No, not necessarily the truth. So my name's Thiago. I was born in LA, grew up in Colombia first, and then most of my life grew up in Seattle. I played soccer my whole life, but really only began playing competitively around 7th grade when a coach out of nowhere took the chance on me, and basically within 1 year I went from the lowest team on my club to the ECNL level. And basically since 7th grade I've been playing ECNL, bumping up and down between the ECRL teams for my club, Thiago United, again like I said in Seattle. And right at the end of my time at club, I was having trouble with recruiting to go to college, and Victor reached out to me, both of you actually, and gave me a great opportunity to come here to Spain. And I took this opportunity. I played with you guys at SGA Academy and had a great year. And from there, with the people I met, the connections I had, with connections you guys had, and of course, like my performance, I've been able to sign a contract with Unionistas as well, and I'm back here in Salamanca, which I'm super grateful for.
Amazing. Top. Good. Chase, what about you?
So I came from Missouri, and I moved to Tampa when I was around 4, 5. And then I started jumping around clubs in Tampa, went to Wesley Chapel, Rangers, and then I settled with TBU. And then from there I've been the lowest. I started MPL, went up to ECNL-R, stayed there for a season, got moved up to MLS now. And so came to Select last year, and it was one of the best experiences I've had. It's so much different levels to play and coaches experience. And so I went back, learned some stuff, incorporated it into my soccer, my football over there, and then I had to come back again.
Nice. Good stuff, guys. So, Thiago, I want to touch there on, you were saying like you were having trouble with your college recruiting. And Chase, I know obviously you said you started off at like MPL, you bounced around a couple of levels, and eventually you kind of worked your way up. So, For someone, because there's a lot of players that I talk to that are like, Sam, I don't play MLS Next. I feel like I need to play Division 1, or they're like trying really hard to make an MLS Next team. Mm. You guys have been kind of around and in that level, but you've also been, I don't want to say the bottom, but you've worked your way up, you know? Yeah. So what do you think about like kind of labels on players? Like I play ECNL, I play MLS Next, I play MPL. Like from a player that's grown up in the youth system in the US, what is kind of like the youth soccer pyramid, or what do you see like differences between levels? Are there differences, or what do you kind of think?
At least in my experience, between ECNL and MLS Next, it's such a level playing field. I think sometimes, I mean, at that level, you know, a team is going to stick to the players that they have, and you know, not everybody's going to get playing time, and it's a lot more rigid. And so, if some players get picked up by an MLS Next team, they have this, I don't know, not to say like sense that like
they deserve something.
They deserve something, and they're going to stick to that team, obviously.
Because you were between ECNL and ECNL R, or what was kind of your experience?
I played ECNL all the way up till around 17. Again, like I said, from like 7th grade, and then by the time I hit like 17, I went down to ECRL, and then from there it was just difficult to get, you know, playing time up at ECNL, and I got a lot more playing time at ECRL, and also I feel like that's really important too, because a lot of guys who get picked up by MLS Next teams, I feel like also don't get a whole lot of playing time. And so at that level, it's all about getting minutes.
So for someone, because I know you said you struggled with the college recruiting, someone might be listening to this and be like, oh my God, Thiago's playing ECNL and he struggled to get a college team. Like, a lot of players think like because they play MLS Next or ECNL, they deserve to go and get a college offer.
Right.
How difficult is it to get recruited to go and play in college at ECNL? Like, why were you struggling?
For me, exposure, I think. Like, I knew I was good enough, but I just wasn't getting, I felt like it was also on me. I wasn't putting myself out there in front of eyes either. I wasn't on top of my emails 100% as I should have. I didn't really know how, for example, ID camps sort of worked. And I didn't really, neither my parents did. None of us really knew how the whole system worked and what we should be doing. And we didn't, you know.
You weren't proactive with it.
We weren't proactive with it.
And then Chase, because you've been kind of bouncing around a few teams at Tampa, what's your experience been between, like, obviously you've played with guys that have played MLS Next, you've played with guys ECNL. What's kind of your perspective or idea about like levels in US youth soccer?
I think it definitely varies. So you have your MPL and then your ECNL, ECNLR, MLS. It definitely varies from the levels. So the higher up we go in Tampa, it's faster play styles. So going from ECNL to MLS, it's just a little bit of, it's faster play. So I think it's not too much of a difference. I think it's more of a who you know kind of thing there, and more of a I have an ego and stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I find like a lot of the MLS Next players that I talk to, like they don't even want to play like Division 3. They just want to play Division 1. And I'm like, it's really difficult. Like you need to kind of be open-minded, you know. And I always say like, if you're going to a showcase or to a tournament and playing, and there's a line of coaches at your game, if there's Division 1 coaches there watching, okay, that's probably your level. But if you go to a showcase tournament and there's D3, D2, NAIA, JUCO, that's probably an indicator of like who's interested in coming to watch your level. So for someone like you, Thiago, who you played ECNL and you also played high school, how was kind of like the coaching or the environment that you were in? Did you feel like the guys on your team wanted to be professional? Did you feel like the guys on your team wanted to play in college? They were just there because they wanted to have fun? Like, what was the environment like?
I think almost all wanted to play in college. And obviously it's not a diss on any of them, but I feel like a lot of them wanted to play D1 and they had their hearts set on playing D1. And by the time we were hitting 18, you know, where we were or 17 as well, gathering up all their college recruiting stuff, what I noticed too is a lot of the coaches that were on our sidelines were D3, D2 schools and maybe 1 or 2 D1 schools. I think out of the squad that I played with, if I'm not mistaken, only one ended up going D1, 2 ended up going D1.
Yeah, interesting. And then for you, Chase, when you're going to like these showcases and these tournaments, like I feel like you're very proactive and switched on. That's kind of why I wanted to get you on here, because I know that you're kind of on top of reaching out to schools. You understand like how it works and how you need to send emails and go to camps and stuff. When you're preparing for a showcase, what do you do to get ready to get noticed?
First, I look at my schedule. So I find my games and I'll start emailing coaches like, hey, are you going to be at the showcase? Hopefully they respond. I get the response from them. And if they're going to be at the showcase, I send them a link that automatically updates for the game times and stuff. And then they just come, watch me play. They'll either stay the whole game or stay half. And we'll either email after the game or we'll have a conversation after.
And how did you learn that? Because a lot of players will listen to that and be like, wow, I didn't know I need to do that. Was that your parents? Was that you yourself being proactive? Like how did you kind of learn that you need to do that?
Proactive from both my coach and my parents. They both helped me out. Mostly my coach, he helps get kids into college, so he always helps us if we need help. And
for a player listening to this, because a lot of players, they get quite overwhelmed with that. It's like, I have finals, I have practice, I want to hang out with my friends, and I also need to send emails to colleges and go to these showcases and camps. It kind of feels like it was too much for me. How do you stay motivated? How do you find the energy to reach out to colleges, to be prepared, to kind of be proactive? Is it kind of you're used to it now, or do you get overwhelmed ever?
You do get overwhelmed, but I think if you really want it, if you really want to play, you're going to do it. I think if you really want to go play that D1 school, you're going to email those coaches before you do other stuff. So I think it becomes more of not before it's like a task and then it gets programmed into your brain, you're just going to do it.
What's been the hardest part for you, Chase, of trying to get college offers? Because you're a 2026.
Yeah.
So what's been the hardest part for you?
Being young. I'm a late 07, so they always look for kids older to scout, and then they'll look to me. So that's definitely been a hard part.
And how do you deal with that?
You just got to keep working, show them that you're better than the kids they're taking. You're more motivated, dedicated. You're willing to take that spot over them.
Nice, that's great advice. And then Thiago, for you, was there a moment in your college recruiting where you felt like you kind of, I don't want to say giving up, but was there moments where you felt like, am I good enough? Why is no one offering me? What do I need to do? Was there any like really low moments that you can remember?
Oh, for sure. I definitely was getting into it late, and I was seeing all my teammates, my friends. My high school was, for high school,
Lakeside's top.
Quite good. And a lot of those guys, people around me were getting picked up here and there, like that. And I was coming in at late, and I was just like, man, am I really going to be able to find a school? And am I going to get good money, because we know we can't afford a full tuition. It got difficult. And so, but I mean, at the end of the day, I had to look into myself and be like, is this what I really want to do? And it was. And so I just kept at it, and I found you guys.
Yeah. So we're obviously in Spain right now. Chase, I saw you at the Disney showcase. Feels like 10 years ago now.
Yeah.
That was ages ago. And then I remember speaking to your dad, and I remember watching you play, and I was like, oh, this is a good player. I like him. From when I first spoke to you coming abroad, because a lot of players will be like, wow, going to Spain, that's a big move. What made you say yes? Like, what kind of intrigued you about the opportunity?
Definitely the experience. I mean, it's coming here and playing here. It was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. The play style here is so much different from the U.S. It's more organized. The physicality here is really good. I mean, we played against the Unionistas team yesterday. I mean, you don't get that back in the U.S. So it's definitely a massive experience here. It's a big step, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, and then for you, Thiago, obviously, I think I saw you at the San Diego Surf Cup, or Victor saw you. And then we obviously spoke to you, and then you came here at Christmas, right?
That's right.
And then you saw everything, and we hadn't even started yet then. No. So what made you think, I'm going to take this opportunity, this is legit, like I want to do this?
A lot like Chase, just the experience, like who else from the States especially is able to travel to another country and be able to play the sport they love and experience all what's being offered. Another really important part, though, for me too was money as well, and it was difficult to afford college, like I said. And so, from at that point, I was thinking either you take the year, either it's an amazing experience, you develop, you play well, and maybe come back and play college or see what happens. But from there, I was just like, I just need one more year, and this was what that gave me.
So, coming and playing in Spain for a full season, what was it like?
It was rigorous, but also it was so much fun. I loved it. I'm so happy I came, and I have zero regrets. I remember telling my parents, maybe the first month I came here, I'll say the first 2 weeks I came here, I think I was like, yeah, this was 100% the right decision. I loved the lads. I loved meeting new people because, I mean, the city's awesome. There's so many people from everywhere. I loved just talking to people and getting to know them. And then, of course, the level, I was like, this is where I'm going to get better.
And culturally, because I went to the US from England, and I was like, this is insane. Like, I was living in a really small town in North Carolina, middle of nowhere. The road was just like fast food chains like Hardee's and Zaxby's and Cookout and all of these places, and it took like some time to adjust.
Right.
And I think that I got lucky because I had a lot of like English players with me or a lot of internationals on our team. But for you coming over that first 2 weeks, you say you loved it and you had a really good time. What made that adjustment easy?
I think for sure, and I think I saw this in a couple of other guys too, was I spoke Spanish, and I think that was a big part about it. And I mean, I grew up in Colombia, like I said, for a while, and so being able to speak Spanish and interact with people that way was a big part. And I saw that some other guys who only spoke English struggled, and I was able to try to help them. But I think that was a big part that made my transition really easy.
Yeah. And then for you, Chase, coming over for a couple of weeks, I think last year you were, what, 15, 16?
Yeah.
So how was your transition? And because you'd never been out of the US, or you'd never been to Europe?
That was the first time.
So how was your transition?
It was hard the first week or so. I wanted to go back to the States, and then kind of opened up and took the opportunity. Like, I'm 16, 15. I'm in Spain right now playing the sport I love. And I kind of just switched something in my head. And ever since there, it was just easy to switch over.
So why was it difficult? Why did you want to go back home?
Miss the friends, miss family at home. It's just much different. You're far from them. So it's just a new experience at such a young age.
What was the biggest change that you found?
Time zones. It's hard to switch with the time zones.
Jet lag is tough.
Yeah. Definitely being away from family. It was hard. That was the hardest part for me, I think.
And how, for someone that's listening to this, it's like, Chase struggled. I'm really close to my family. I don't want to leave my family. How did you kind of get over that? Like, what advice would you give to yourself back before you came?
I kind of like stayed in my room, kind of sad to myself, and then I went out, talked to people, met new people, met friends here, made friends, still talk to them to this day. So, I mean, it's just a kind of mindset thing. You're in a mental stage, and you have to get out of it.
Interesting. And then, Thiago, for you, in terms of like the level over here in Spain, you obviously played men's football. I've been having this talk a lot on the podcast with like guys that have played like Division 1 in the pros, and they're always talking about like men's football is so different to youth football. Why?
I think the first thing I really noticed was the speed of possession. I think typically when you see in youth football, like when people possess the ball, it's very nonchalant, it's very slow, like you hold it. But here when I came and played men's football, like switching the ball back and forth, in, out, here, there, where it's just everywhere. And especially the physicality as well, like the way players went to 50-50s, like every ball they thought that's their ball. And so 50-50s and speed of play was such a next level.
And how do you prepare for that?
You have to play. I mean, there's no other way to prepare for that than being in it.
Was there any moment during the season where it was kind of like a wake-up call, like I really need to get better at my distribution, or I need to get better at coming and catching things, punching things? Was there like a specific game or moment where you kind of were like, I need to improve at this or do this?
I think there were two. I think the most apparent one is when I began training with the first team for Unionistas, and when I went to that level, we were doing set piece training, and most of my time in like playing football, and also even here, most balls, like area balls, were fairly easy to claim.
That was your bread and butter, yeah.
My bread and butter. I could come out and claim any ball. I think I came out playing my first like ball, and it just was like a wall just hit me. Like three just
big
just,
guys, yeah.
Boom, just ran me over. I was like, damn.
So you went and trained with Unionistas first team from Select Generation Academy. So Unionistas are playing in the 3rd division. There's a lot of, are we good? Yeah, okay, perfect. No. So there's a lot of players getting paid a lot of money to play football. People will like struggle to understand the level of that, and they'll be like, oh yeah, they're a pro team. I'm sure they're just faster, stronger, they play quickly, and if I went into that environment, I could adapt. But how, in simple terms, would you explain the difference from like how would you in simple terms explain like how they train, how they play? What does it take to go and play for Unionistas?
I think what I noticed was these guys, if if each player was from one team, like a different team, they were going to be the best player of that team 100% by far. And it's like each player had it's not like they had an ego, but they had a different way that they carried themselves on and off the pitch. And it was just intimidating. They were just intimidating. And I went in, I'm not gonna lie, I was nervous for like a whole week and a half, but you have to just be confident in yourself and, tell yourself there's a reason why I'm here, and just train and play and learn and listen. I think the biggest thing is just trying to be coachable and just learn. And so
why?
Because I feel like a lot of players, like, they're not coachable. And for me, I think that's what sort of set me apart a little bit, is like I will listen. It's like I will always try to learn as much as I can and implement that, because implement that into my game.
I want to touch on this because I think I've spoke about this before, but like the reason why I think I was quite successful playing was because I was coachable. Coaches have their way of playing, right? Like they play a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, and they want players for their specific role in their system. So if you get recruited to go to a school or a team, you're getting recruited because they think you're a good player, and then the coach is going to try and mold you into his formation or his style. So you need to be adaptable and flexible. If the coach needs a striker to score goals but also come back on defense, and then you're not willing to do that, you're not going to play. Yeah. If you're the best 1v1 winger, you beat everyone, you cut in, score goals, but the coach needs you to like run back on defense, he's not going to play you because he needs that from his winger. There might be someone that's not technically as good as you, but he does the role in the system. So like being coachable is, I think, so important. And for you, Chase, like going between your teams at Tampa, have you noticed have you noticed like, let's say you're in and out of the team, does the coach give you a lot of feedback, or like?
I definitely noticed the higher level we go up, the more players are wanting it, the more they're coachable, and the more the coach will give us feedback.
So what does coachable mean to you? Like if someone was saying, Chase, what is being coachable? Who is a coachable player?
Someone being able to listen, someone being able to take feedback, someone being able to take, let's say you do something wrong, being able to take that feedback and changing it, not keeping your head down, so that way you're growing as a player and as a person.
Have you ever had a season or a moment where you felt like you weren't coachable?
Yeah, I mean, there's always that one, I guess.
You think you're right?
Yeah.
And how did you, because I feel like you're pretty mature for your age. Is there like a time where the coach has kind of told you like, Chase, you need to do this, and you kind of been like arguing with him, or you always felt like you kind of listened, or?
Most of the time I'll listen. I mean, a lot of the time I'll listen. There's always that one time I think that I would be right, but not always am I right. There's always different views on things, so the coach may have a different view than I do, and he may be right. I think that's where you need to be coachable, and you need to be able to adapt.
And for you, Chase, let's say that you're not playing or you get dropped.
Yeah.
How do you stay like mentally strong, hungry? Because there's a lot of players in training that will get dropped, and they'll be like, this coach is an idiot. Like I'm not going to play for him, or I'm going to be useless in training.
For me, it's always I want to prove them wrong. They drop me. That gives me motivation personally to be like, I'm better than that, and I know I can be on a better team. So
good. And Thiago, for you, similar mindset, or?
100%. I'm super competitive, and if somebody thinks I can't do something, I want to prove them wrong.
Because going into that Unionistas locker room, and you said you're intimidated, would you have changed anything about the way you went into that, or what advice would you have given to yourself before going into that environment?
Man, I don't know. I think there really was no other way I feel like I could have prepared to do that besides just going in with just an open mindset and just be ready to learn and be ready to experience that level. I think, you just have to come in with an open mind and be like, this is another level, and you're going to have to learn, and you're going to have to suffer, probably. But you have to know, like, on the other side, you're going to come out a much better player.
Do you think that your mindset has been the same before you came to Spain and after you came to Spain? Like, have you grown a lot, your mindset, in the last year, or you think you were always like that?
I think, to be honest, I think I was always like that. Yeah. I think especially as a way how my parents raised me, for sure. It's just to be hungry, be determined, be resilient.
And then going back to like you playing ECNL or in high school, is there anything you wish you knew about the recruiting process when you were 15, 16?
What I wish about the recruiting process, don't go to ID camps blindly. I think I went to a couple of ID camps.
What does that mean?
I think me and my parents, we were very, I mean, obviously you want to shoot for the stars, but I think we didn't have enough realistic conversations with, I think, my coaches or people who were going to be honest with me. And I think we wasted money on going to unrealistic ID camps where nobody really is looking at me and I'm not actually going to get eyes on me, instead of training and trying to develop and get better and have more realistic expectations with people who are going to be honest with me.
So how do I have a conversation with someone realistic? Who do I go to? I'm playing MLS or ECNL or whoever. I have my club coach and that's it. Who do I go to ask, do you really think I can play D1?
Club coach. I mean, or anybody who's a mentor to you. Because, I mean, you have to find somebody. I think it's super important to find somebody who's going to be honest with you. I think that's the person who's going to really push you. And if you want to really develop and get better and find the next level, you need to have people who are honest with you and around you, because nobody's going to be your biggest supporter than people who are going to be honest with you.
Couldn't agree more. What about you, Chase? What do you think?
100% agree. I think you need to find someone that's going to be completely honest with you. Like you see all this talent, so I know you can be honest with me. You can tell me if I'm at that level yet or if I'm not.
And what do you think about, I know obviously you started pretty early and you're pretty switched on, but is there anything you've kind of realized or found out about the recruiting process that you didn't know when you first started?
It's much harder than what you think it is. Emailing coaches, and you want to be perfect. Like for me, it's a mental, like I want to be perfect towards them, but you need to be yourself. They're going to recruit someone that, like, I look for colleges that have, it's more of like a family. There's a family where there's other coaches that just want to win. So for me, it's like you look at certain things.
Yeah, interesting. And then, Thiago, what have you noticed in Spain? Like, what do coaches value? Like, you've obviously got signed to a new team. What do you think coaches value in players here? Because back in the US, obviously, it's a lot of like physical and you need to win games. And here it's a bit more technical, a bit more tactical. What do you think coaches here value in players?
I think, in my experience, what coaches have valued in me is composure and intelligence. I think especially ability to play with ball at the feet, especially as a goalkeeper, and having social emotional intelligence as well, especially as a leader. I think that's valued a lot here, and having the intelligence to communicate with your back line, make sure everybody's playing together, tight, positive, tell people where people are at. I think just having that composure and presence, especially in the goal, especially as a goalkeeper, just having a presence, because you want your team to feel comfortable with what's behind them, because
you see the whole field.
I see the whole field, and they're looking at that way, and they need to know that they're okay behind themselves. So,
and Chase, what do you think about coaches that you talk to when they're like, Chase, we're not going to offer you because this, or Chase, we're interested in you because of this part of your game? What do you think that NCAA or coaches in general, what do you think they look for?
I think they look for a player not only on the field but off the field. How you carry yourself is a really big thing. A coach isn't going to want someone that's on the field and is yelling at everyone because they make mistakes. I mean, so it's how you present yourself.
It's interesting. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think that's the thing I always say to players. Like, if you're shouting at the referee, if you're yelling at your coach for a sub, like, there's no chance that we're gonna reach out to you because you're a dickhead. You know, like, we're good players. And then, last question, boys. How important is having a good highlight video? Go on, Chase.
That's very important. A coach is going to always ask for your highlight film. They're going to ask for game footage. So I think that's one of the first few impressions on that coach.
How would you explain? So, like, you're doing the recruiting process now and you're trying to reach out to coaches. For someone that's like, where do I start? What should I be doing? Talk us through like a step 1, 2, 3, 4, like how you go from having no idea to reaching out to coaches. Like, what do you need to do? Like, what is reaching out to coaches? What does it mean?
I think first step, you have to know where you want to go. So you want to find the school. You want a big population, small population, how many people you want in your class. So you want to see the type of colleges that is a good fit for you. And then I think you start reaching out, or you start making your highlight films if you don't have them. Reaching out, let the coaches and staff know who you are as a person and as a player. And I think once you start emailing enough schools, just based on that, some will be interested. And then you kind of start talking from them, come view my game, come see this tournament. Hey, are you guys there? Maybe go see a game at their facility if it's close by. So I think there's many ways to do it. There's not one right way.
What happens if I'm shy and I'm scared of emailing a coach that they're going to not reply or they're not going to tell me they like me?
I think a lot of coaches aren't going to reply. A lot of it is what I get back is come to our ID camp. It's like kind of like spam. Like they don't even read it. So I think...
But you're smart enough to know that that's spam. A lot of players will be like, oh, amazing, I just got invited to Wake Forest or Clemson ID camp.
Yeah.
So, but how do you figure that out? Is that just because you're smart or because you've had enough of it? Or?
I think both. I think you can kind of read in between the lines. Like if they actually read your email, you'll get a response. Like if you send something personal out to them, like, hey, I just had surgery, and then you just get a email back saying, come to our ID camp. I mean, they didn't even read your email. So I think you got to read between the lines in some of them.
And then for you, Thiago, for someone that's like, oh, Thiago's going and playing for Unionistas, like he went over to Europe and play. If I'm sitting here thinking, I want to go to Europe, I want to go to Spain, England, Germany, France, how does it work?
I think, well, what I found, I mean, obviously I have you, and you're now my agent, and obviously like over the summer, you've been helping me out with Unionistas, you've been looking at things in, can I say Sweden?
Yeah.
Having me look at things in Sweden and in Germany, and you need to have, like I said, somebody who's honest with you. Can you play at that level? Is it a good opportunity? Are you sort of wasting a year, per se, and going to go ride a bench or not even find a team? And so you need to have somebody who's honest with you and somebody who's networked and has connections, because it's really difficult to come here on your own and try to get a trial with a team. And then from there, set up trials and work and perform. And then...
Because I feel like there's a lot of players that want to go to Europe. And you said there, like, make sure you have someone who has connections. But if I tell you, I know Real Madrid, I know Chelsea, I know Arsenal,
right?
How do you know if I'm legit or not? How do you, like, because I know you have obviously had the opportunity in Germany and you were like researching and asking a lot of questions. How do you be like curious and make sure they're legit and do research? Is that got to come from you? Is that because you're smart? Is that because you've had the experience to be here for a year? Like, what makes you research to figure out if something is legit or not?
I think for me, I've been fortunate enough to have an experience with you guys first and sort of get a firsthand experience of like, okay, this is like what a more realistic experience in Europe is like, you know, like 8th tier and work, instead of having guys come up to you and be like, yeah, I have this connection here. It's like...
Too good to be true.
Too good to be true, exactly. And, you know, like I said, I'm fortunate enough to have you guys and you guys be honest with me. And obviously, I'll send you guys something that's people have reached out to me and be like, hey, is this legit? Like, what are your thoughts on this? And you guys will be honest with me and be like, we don't know.
I think it's really important to have a mentor, because a lot of the players that I talk to, like, for example, a lot of the boys at the camp here, they have, and you said in Madrid, they have so many questions and they're like, how does this work? Or what should I be doing?
Right.
And I think you need to have a mentor. Obviously, your club coach is a good person to talk to because he sees you every day at training. Your parents, I find that a lot of parents in the US, they didn't actually play soccer, so they don't really know how anything works. So like you have your parent obviously there for like mental support and to like be your dad or your mum, but then you have your coach, but then maybe you need like a third figure, like a mentor, maybe someone who's played in college, maybe someone a few years older than you.
Right.
I think having a mentor is really, really important.
Yeah,
I think that's important. But guys, all right, let's flip it around now. You got any questions for me? Anything you want to know?
One thing is, what do you wish players asked you more or reached out to you more about?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that I wish players... What do I wish players ask me more? More like specific questions, because a lot of players, they ask general questions like, can I play D1 or how do I get college offers? And if you're asking me that question, you haven't really done any research yourself, right? Because players that ask me questions like, oh, Sam, I'm forming this email, like what should my subject line be? Or here's my highlight video, what do you think? How can I make my highlight video better? Is a much better question that I can actually answer specifically to you than how do I get college offers? Because then it's like a whole thing. Should we be aiming for this school? Where do you want to go? So I think I wish that players ask me more a specific question about a specific part of the process rather than generally speaking, how do I get college offer? Because if you don't know how to get a college offer, you haven't done any research at all.
Yeah.
That's the question that I would rather get.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So as Select Generation grows, obviously you guys are opening up a team in Bournemouth, and you're having multiple camps and all this stuff. How do you guys sort of keep quality control over your personal connection with each player that you interact with and work with?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think that my phone is consistently blowing up with emails and texts, so I think that it's difficult because we have a big responsibility for each player to make sure that they get to where they need to get. Some players are not good enough, some players are good enough and they need some support. So I think that to make sure that everyone kind of has equal attention, I think that we need to grow, but grow in a good way and not kind of be greedy, because we could have 60, 70, 80 players here this week, but we decided not to. And we have players all the time. Can I come join your team in Spain? Can I come join your team in England? And we have to say no to a lot of players, right? So I think that having the right people too is really important. Like, for example, I came to Spain, twice last year? And I think everyone had good equal attention from all the members of staff. So like, I would rather have a member of staff in each area and maybe an extra staff than kind of have one less staff and myself take on more responsibility. Because for us, I think we've worked really hard, and obviously Vic's done a really good job of bringing in the right people at the right time for the right role and managing a team, because as much as we're building a team on the field to win games, we're also building a staff off the field where we can kind of like control it and be from the outside looking and kind of helping. So to answer your question, I think it's bringing in the right people as a staff, as part of our agency and part of our team, to make sure that players feel like they're wanted, feel like they have the resources to develop and get better. But it's difficult. That's a challenge that we have, and we're figuring it out as we go. But yeah, I think bringing in the right people to make sure that the players feel wanted and they have everything they need.
So you see all these different levels. You see MLS, you see ECLR, ECNL. What makes a player stand out to you? What tells you that they're good enough to come to Spain with the different levels?
I think that it might sound a bit like obvious, but if you're a striker and you can't score a goal, then is not really an interesting player. If I go to a showcase and I watch you and you're a winger and you can't beat your defender 1v1, then I'm probably not going to look at you.
Yeah.
So I've got it wrong a lot in the past too, where I'll go to a showcase, watch a lower bracket because no one else goes. And I'll see a player and I'll be like, wow, amazing goal, or he did a really good tackle or a really good save. And then I'm thinking, and then we bring him to Spain and it's like, well, he looked good in that level because he was in the lower bracket. So I get it wrong sometimes. But I think generally speaking, it's the attitude. We want players that have good body language, that are confident, good in tight spaces. Obviously at showcases, we're watching players in a match environment. So we want them good in tight spaces, taking risks. I like players in showcases that take risks, especially in the forward positions. Centre-back, breaking line. I mean, each position has specific things that we'll look for, but generally speaking, it's body language, attitude. But at the end of the day, like if you're a centre-back and your team loses 3-0, if you're a striker and you can't score a goal, like each position needs to have something specific. But you need to be technically good and you need to have good body language.
So I know in college, your freshman year, you got named to team captain.
Yeah.
How do you have that leadership role, especially with players who on that team might be older and have more experience?
Yeah, that's a good question. You did your research on me, Thiago. Good lad. I think that I've always been quite loud. So like, I think my freshman year, I was kind of a bit erratic. Like I would be shouting, but it wouldn't really have any meaning. Like I would be shouting, screaming, but it wasn't really encouraging. It was more kind of like annoying, and I had to kind of like develop that. And I spoke to my coach a lot about that and my teammates. I think if I was more, you have different types of captains. You had like lead by example captain, which is like yourself. And then you have the captains that just don't stop talking. And I was never really the lead by example captain. I was more of the shouting, screaming, organizing. I've always been quite good at organizing. And I just think I've always been like that. Like when I was growing up in England, very loud, everyone's talking to everyone. And then kind of as I came to the US, I matured a lot on and off the pitch. And I think that helped in my game of football too. I think, I've just always been good at organising and speaking and communicating. So I think it was just something that I don't want to say born with, but something that I kind of developed.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought, like a player was good enough, and then, well, I guess you answered that. Have you ever like changed your mind about a player?
Yeah, a lot. Both ways too. A player that I think would be maybe a rotational player, or a player that would be good in certain aspects of a game, like last 20 minutes if we're chasing it, and then they become a really good player. And then a lot of players come. I remember, like at the winter camp, there was a lad who was like, we went out for dinner one night and he was bragging about like talking to all these girls and trying to invite girls to the residence, and I was like, he was a decent player, but that completely changes your perspective of him, you know. But in terms of football, yeah, there's a lot of players that like I see in showcases and events, and then they come here because I'm watching players in their game. I'm not really watching players training, you know. Like I watch highlight videos, I watch full game film, and I go in person to the showcase. So I don't really know what anyone's like in training. So then they come to training and we're doing small-sided tactical and they struggle. And that kind of changes your perspective. So that's kind of why the camp is a good way to look at players in different aspects. Obviously we have games, but most of it is like short, sharp in spaces. But yeah, there's a lot of times when like we see a player and we think like, okay, he's going to be a good player. He could be maybe good for the last 20 minutes of a game if we're chasing, or maybe he's someone that can come on and affect the game. Or maybe he's someone that, like, for example, a coach here really wants a 6 that's going to sit. And then he because also like we're recruiting sometimes like 6-7 months before the season. So the guys, we tell them like you need to come in fit, and we give them like some tactical stuff to work on, and they come in and they blow it away. But there's also the flip of that, like people get comfortable. Oh, I'm going to go and play in Spain next year, so I'm going to take my foot off the gas now. Yeah. I've made it. I'm a pro. They come in unfit and they struggle. So it goes both ways.
Watching, experiencing, and playing soccer in Spain, England, and the States, do you notice, or what do you think are the biggest differences between the two countries?
I think in England it's a lot more like physical, direct. Like obviously in the Premier, you watch Premier League and it's Man City and it's Chelsea and Arsenal playing all this lovely football. But if you watch the Championship, it's a grind. Like it's 4-4-2, it's direct, it's very loud, smashing tackles. In Spain, it's very technical, very tight. Like you'll recycle the ball 100 times to try and find some space. Even I've been watching a lot of videos in the Club World Cup. Like you see the Brazilian teams, they like pick a side of the field and they'll like force the ball and try and get an overload to then get it to the other side. But in Europe, it's like you swing it, try and find space. A lot more like tactical stuff here. In England, it's kind of more like how can we be direct? But I think the biggest difference from my experience between England, Spain, and the US is like analyzing the opposition, because I felt like during college, when I was at New Hampshire, it was like a really professional environment. But when I had been playing like UPSL or Division 2 school, or even sometimes USL 2, like you don't really do that much research on the other team. You kind of just try and fix your problems. But in Spain and in England, it's like, okay, we're playing this team. We're going to do our identity, our values. We're going to play how we play. But we need to change one thing because they have a really good winger, or because they play a 3-5-2. So in Europe, it's a bit more like you focus on the opposition to win that game. Then in the US, it's a bit like, okay, we're just going to focus on ourselves.
Right. Yeah. I guess, sorry, a little follow-up question on that is, so with a team in Bournemouth and a team here in Spain, are they sort of, not just telling secrets, are they sort of going to play the same way, or is it going to be by team? Different. Like Jake's going to, like obviously we have the coaches here who have their philosophy. Right. I think the biggest thing for us is like, yes, we want to win games. We're in the pyramid and we want to win. But I think this year, like the first half of the season, we struggled because we didn't really have a methodology, or we didn't really have a way of playing. It was kind of like, try get to 60, 70 minutes. If we're losing, go for it. If we're winning, sit in. Whereas now this next season, the second half of the season was more like, guys, this is how we're trying to play. This is what we need to do. It was more of a methodology, you know? So I think, but if this team tried to play in England, it wouldn't work the same, because the opposition is different. If the England team tried to come and just play route one, they would get exposed in transition. Right. So it's the same in terms of we're trying to develop players, play out from the back, take risks, but you need to be wary of the environment that you're in, you know? So I don't know if that answers your question, but the two coaches have different philosophies. We have like the select generation methodology that we're trying to work on, trying to develop players in certain situations, but also we want to win games. So that's a challenge for us as a club, you know? Right.
What frustrates you in a player, or like the game on or off the field? What frustrates you the most?
I think for the players that we're working with, a big frustration is that, like you said, they don't realize how hard it is. And they kind of, I feel like players give up really easily. I feel like a lot of mentally weak. And that's kind of what makes it between players that don't make it and players that do make it is they're mentally weak. Like, bad shit happens to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, you get injured or you get sent off or your coach drops you. Like, that happens to everyone, not just you, not just me. But it's like, how do you react from that and your mindset? And the more I kind of talk to more people and they're involved, it's like, everyone has bad days. Everyone has moments. Everyone has really good moments too. But you need to be humble in the top moments and you need to be motivated in the low moments. And it's your mindset, I think, really, because there's a lot of technical players out there. There's always going to be someone better than you, but there might not be someone with a better mindset than you that gives up in those moments. So I think that's what really frustrates me about players, is like they're kind of mentally weak. And then on the field, like not treating practice like a game, like kind of treating practice like, oh, we're just doing a tactical session today, so I don't really want to get injured today, or I don't want to go in for this, or set pieces, I'm small, so I'm not important in set pieces. Like maybe you're the most important person in the transition, maybe you're on the back post. So like not really taking training seriously and being invested. But yeah, I would say mostly it's just mindset. Players give up or they're lazy, especially in the college process. Like, oh, I don't want to send an email today, I'm tired. Or like, everyone's tired. Everyone has training, everyone has homework, everyone has everything. But what makes you different to the next person, you know?
Yeah.
So I think players lazy in their mindset on and off the field.
I don't think I have any more questions.
Any more?
I had one more.
Go on, Chase, last one.
How important do you think it is for players to watch their own film or start critiquing their own play style?
Yeah, I think it's the number one thing. I think that I would say the most important thing for a footballer to get to the next level off the pitch is film and sleep and nutrition, because that's something that I really neglected when I was younger. I would watch the film back, but I would watch the film back to get the best clips to make a highlight video so I could use it to transfer. But I wouldn't really critique it that much. Mm-hmm. And then also like sleep and diet and nutrition. Like in college, I went out a lot. I didn't really focus on my sleep. I never went to the gym unless it was a team lift. So that's something that I really neglected. And now looking back, I realized how important it is, especially like, for example, if you're trying to play Division 1 and you're looking at all the players are like juniors, seniors. Why? Because they're bigger, because they're older, because they're more physical. In the pro game, you went to Unionistas, you see like the shape that those guys are in. They're beasts, they're animals. Yeah. So I think, and that's also something that you can control. You can control when you go to bed. You can control what you eat. You can control like how much video you do. You can't really control if you have a good game or a bad game, right? Like if a ref makes a bad decision, if the coach subs you, but you can control off the pitch. But to answer your question, Chase, video, I think that's what sets a lot of players apart, because when you watch yourself back, you realize what you did wrong or how to get better. Or you might, on the pitch, maybe you're checking your shoulder and you see there's a lot of space behind you, but you don't see like what run that person made, or, oh, my friend on the left wing, he's always open, you know? So I think watching video is kind of got what's going to set you apart. But yeah, I would say like watching video for sure. And then, and also like, let's say you're playing a 2 games, how do I explain this? So let's say you play a team home and away, and you're playing that team that you already played next week, and you can watch like, okay, this is what I did versus the left back next time, and this is what his weaknesses was that game, so I can like kind of pinpoint it and go over him, you know? Yeah. And so I think film is really important. But yeah, I would say film, sleep, diet, and nutrition is really, really important. That's what you can control. Yeah. Good, guys, perfect. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. We'll tag Chase and Thiago's Instagram. If you learned something, if you have any questions for them, their DMs should be open, so you can reach out to them and ask any questions. But yeah, guys, top podcast. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Perfect.